West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
Love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
What the flock?
Nice one. Oh,
I'm excited for this one because I think you're going to see Republicans and Democrats get on different sides of this debate.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I'm going to dance the line as how close I'm going to come to saying the wrong words.
I want
That's what I'm worried about.
Everyone probably just went, what?
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Mayor extending Denver's contract with flock license plate readers without council approval. Bro, I posted this on X yesterday, and people texting or commenting in, Jeff, this is not the way to go. You are calling for a surveillance state. I love the flock cameras. Look, and until you can prove to me that there's big civil rights violations going on, we have a crime problem. We do. It's a serious problem that's got to be addressed. This is a tool. Now, look. And I ask people, because there are some examples of people commenting, going and saying that they've been drugged in on charges that were not fair based upon these flock cameras. Because a crime was committed in the vicinity, their car happened to be in that vicinity. So they got drugged in and questioned and stuff like that. Okay, that's a problem. If that's happening at scale, if there are innocent people, if there are civil rights violations happening with these flock cameras, I want to hear about them because that may change my mind. But at this point, these license plate readers are a tool law enforcement uses to quickly find kidnapping victims, car theft. I've heard that flock cameras is what helped Mike Johnston get his own cars back when they were stolen. He had them stolen 3 times. So it's a tool. It's an important tool in a crime-ridden city. And I do want ICE being able to use them. Why not? My goodness. To hear progressives in particular, I understand the no surveillance state conservatives and libertarians. Like, I would argue they're being consistent, okay? But if you're the same people that said you got to have a vaccination card to go into a gym and we're going to track you through your vaccination status, but then all of a sudden a flock camera is a problem, I don't want to hear from you. All right? You're just a big old hypocrite. But if you believe that the flock cameras are a problem, you're a civil libertarian, or you've had your civil rights violated as a result of these, please give us a call. I want to hear from you. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115.
Hey, Jeff.
Bill, what is your take on this?
This is going to be interesting because I am just back from visiting internationally in Ireland, where there are closed-circuit cameras everywhere. They are all over the place. And we're going to talk later on down the road. One of the things I want to talk with you about, but this is not for today or even the next couple of weeks, some of the media coverage, news coverage, and what I saw over there versus what I saw over here. But one of the things that was interesting is when they talked about things that had happened. There was a thing about a guy that had been arrested a number of years ago for an attack on a family. And they were able to track him through the closed-circuit TV cameras. They could see him approaching the victims. They could see part of the attack, and then were able to track him afterwards because of the closed-circuit cameras. They were able to watch, because of closed-circuit cameras that are on public streets, people trying to get access to certain parts of the airport in Dublin. There were all sorts of things they were able to do. Here's the crazy part, okay? Tesco, which is like a small supermarket, like a bodega. It's a combination of both. They have a small area where they do fresh fruits and vegetables, also remarkably fresh and affordable, I'm going to say. And then they've got frozens, then they've got the canned goods, and then they've got your deli section, stuff like that. So think about it as a combination of a small convenience store and a small grocery store. So it's a bit typical bodega. You walk in, right there at the door is the security guard watching all the closed circuit TV cameras, and they're all over the place. And this happens over and over and over again in so many shops and stores that when you're there, the first person you encounter is the security guard, more times than not, with a fleet of cameras watching everything happening in the store. Granted, this is Dublin, tourist area, known for pickpockets. I get it. But I came from what would be considered in America a very, very secure surveillance type state just earlier this week. So
how did it make you feel?
Oddly enough, safe. That's the crazy part about it.
Look,
and that's the thing.
I mean, cameras are a direct reflection of the amount of cameras is a direct reflection of the corruption of our society, right?
Yeah.
So if you live in like the Amish, for instance, they don't really need cameras. Nice people, follow lots of rules. But as you end up with a crime-ridden society, our inability to police ourselves results in more policing that needs to take place. So put the 10 Commandments back up in the classroom. All right.
Also, I think population density has something to do with it, and we'll talk about that as well.
100%.
But, yeah, this is difficult because I am a privacy advocate, but I see the mechanism and reason for this in certain areas and why. So this will be fun.
All right, we're going to debate that and more, but want you to join us in the debate. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Now it's time for news and comment. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. It is Thursday, 40 and mostly cloudy, expecting a high of 70 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
Why not just take yes for an answer? Because John Thune told Senate Democrats, let's just open the government. I'll give you a date that we can vote on these health care that enhanced premium tax credits. That wasn't good enough.
That's Colorado's own Representative Jeff Crank on with the fellas last hour. It's now day 23 of the Schumer shutdown, and Michael Bennet continues to build off the drama, doing whatever he can. The Senate failed for the 12th time to pass a funding bill that would end it. Crank knows the deal. He knows it's all on the Democrats. I'll try to get this audio up. It's a little low.
I don't know what it is. You'd have to ask them. I'm not the one that's in charge of the shutdown. It's them, and so I don't get it. I don't understand it. And again, we can talk about all these things. When you talk about people suffering, are these enhanced premium tax credits being dealt with? No, we're not dealing with them right now because we're dealing with the government shutdown. Once you get that out of the way, we can talk about these other things.
All right. Once again, Jeff Crank. Great stuff. How about some great journalism from Jonathan Cho from Turning Point USA? A News Nation report today on Antifa, just horrible human beings, funding the homeless crisis in Seattle and across the country.
Well, what's happening right here is being enabled by the homeless nonprofits. And the homeless nonprofits, the research shows, is working with far-left militants and progressive groups and violent domestic terrorists like Antifa.
If it sounds far-fetched, take it from someone inside the homeless sector here.
It's the same faction of people who link up and protest and, do the black bloc. And, they're often the same people we see working inside social services.
Andrea Suarez, lifelong Democrat and Seattle resident, started a volunteer organization, We Heart Seattle, to clear trash from parks and homeless encampments.
Oh my God, you're so
Get the hell out of here! She said she had no idea she'd come face to face with Antifa.
I've been attacked. My staff has been attacked. We've been pushed into traffic. We've had...
here's the question.
Yeah.
Why?
What?
I'm not in alignment with their ideology.
I mean, that's the
former
question? Democrat. Yeah, right.
That's not the question.
No.
I disagree with people every day.
Yeah.
I don't shove them into traffic.
Exactly.
Good night.
No, and you can see how this San Francisco, so they're sending federal agents to San Francisco. At least 47 is trying to do that, right? So once again, the mayor of San Francisco, Daniel Lurie, he's opposing the move, doesn't want it because they don't want any help. Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, and Antifa is, where does the funding come from? It all works hand in hand, Jeff, right?
Yeah, no, they are the shock troops. Look, this is the strategy. I'm a political strategist. I have a master's in it, okay? This is the strategy behind it. Democrats want to convey that there's uprisings happening in cities, that there's protests, right? This is why they love the protests. To think about the average person out there that's just flipping the channels, not really engaging in all the political debates that we all engage in. They're going about their lives, and they see protest. Oh, there's uprising. So clearly
Visuals.
Donald Trump's done something that makes people uneasy. And you have this group of people that will push it to near violence. They came up during the George Floyd riots. The Antifa folks are willing to push that, so you see the smoke, you see the fire, you see violence happening and police having to respond. And the Democrats think that gives them a political advantage against Donald Trump. It's why they fund it. It's why they organize it. It's why they show up. And I'm not talking about little old ladies that show up at the No Kings rallies, right? I'm talking about the professional protesters that you're seeing the money go to. It is all geared towards electoral victories for the Democrat Party. You have to understand that.
Absolutely. And it makes everyone unsettled on the left. Mostly, most people on the right know it's going on, and it's all that visual advantage that they try to claim, or they try to take advantage and create. Construction crews are demolishing the east wing of the White House to make room for President Trump's new ballroom. Don Jr. says lefties have lost their minds over it for, once again, political purposes.
The Democrats freaking out about it is absolutely insane. I think the greatest irony that I saw in all of this was Hillary Clinton talking about it being the people's house. Hillary Clinton, who with her husband literally had to return furniture and silverware that they stole from the White House. That was actually the property of the people. They took it with them after their term. They had to return it because people caught them stealing the furniture. She's the one that's leading the charge, complaining about this thing. It's absolutely nuts.
It's just so stupid. I'm having trouble with the audio here. I'll get it fixed, Billy. DeCarlos Brown Jr., the man who murdered Irina Zarutska, stabbed in cold blood, seen on video on the train in Charlotte. Brown Jr. has been federally indicted and is likely to face the death penalty. Suspects in a complex crime ring operating all over the area are now one step closer to facing justice. 20th Judicial District Attorney Michael Doherty says a grand jury has indicted 6 people and 5 were arrested.
They were breaking into cars and then using stolen cars to commit other crimes. And in some of these cars, they found garage door openers, and they would use those garage door openers to then break into people's garages.
Doherty says this ring was responsible for 190 open cases. All right, NBC News reporting Denver's own Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Blazers, has been arrested in connection with an investigation into illegal gambling not related to games he coached. 2 senior law enforcement officials say that. They got thousands of former or professional athletes and coaches they can look into on that one.
I mean, let's talk just real briefly about this.
Yeah.
I was one of the opponents of sports gambling when it was voted on here in Colorado.
Yes.
Barely passed, by the way. But, gosh, Blake, I'm looking at the whole change in college athletics that's taking place right now, with those kids now making fortunes. They basically become junior professional athletes at this point.
They're pros. Yeah, a lot
and
of them.
and then the sports gambling, and half of college-aged men at this point have engaged in sports gambling.
Yeah, I hate that.
It seems to me like there's so much money rushing into this that the corruption, the decline of the games. Do you think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here?
No,
or do you think
don't.
we're going to see real problems with the future of sports?
You are absolutely. You are not making a mountain out of a molehill, because when it's advertised and promoted on everything you see, I mean, it's crazy. If it is truly a disease like we talk about, okay, if it's a disease, why are you going to promote it on radio and TV and the internet? And then the players and coaches can't take part in any of it. They're the ones with all the money.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, it's hypocritical to have the promotions and advertising of all this stuff, and not think that you're going to have an issue when it comes to the players and coaches.
I mean, maybe I'm being nostalgic here, but you remember during the Pete Rose stuff and all that, it was about like the honesty of the game. Right.
Oh, yeah. The integrity.
The integrity. That's the word I'm looking for. The integrity of the game itself. Pure sportsmanship.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
And now you've got, and the idea was that you went to college in order to get educated and prepare for a life. Now you got the kids, coming out with Lambos, playing essentially professional sports in college at this point. So I feel like the integrity of education has been lost too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they've normalized gambling, so we can joke about it, when we're doing sportscasts, or we can talk about games and competition, and then right when it comes to millionaires and billionaires actually gambling and taking, and doing it with big time money, not $20 here, $50 here, $100 here on the internet, which will absolutely destroy the majority of young adults, mostly males. We just laugh it off. Oh, you made some money on that parlay. All this gambling talk, and it ruins sports. Even though at the same time, it has made the NFL what it is today. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but you're going to have this issue. So they've got to draw the line somewhere. I don't know where that is or what they have to do, but that has happened. Nuggets, speaking of hoops, they tip off the NBA season tonight at Golden State. I don't know what the line is because I don't gamble. Avs play host to the Hurricanes this evening in Lodo. Hockey fans tonight in Denver. And football, NFL football, Vikings and the Chargers. I'm sure the gamblers will look at that one as well.
Be sure to tune in for Bill's after the show parlay picks.
Right.
Brought to you by Draft Sports.
Yes. Yes. The lines are so ridiculous. I mean, when I see lines, there are lines on Division 1 AA, which is FCS. Division 1 football, but FCS, the level that UNC plays in. Okay, so they don't know for the most part. Okay, Montana State, North Dakota State are going to win most of their games. Other than that, they have no idea. It is so dangerous. You see Division 2 games on there. It's nuts. All right, I'm going to get out of here now and try to figure out this audio. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Expect another good-looking day here in Denver and along the Front Range with sunny to partly sunny skies, light winds, and a beautiful October day. Temperatures will be well into the 60s up to near 70 degrees. Lows tonight near 40. Becoming cloudy Thursday. Thursday and Thursday evening, a chance of showers. Highs mid to upper 60s Thursday. Showers ending Thursday night. Lows in the low to mid 40s. A little cooler Friday, a high near 60. Back to the mid to upper 60s and partly cloudy for Saturday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Headline out of the Denver Post. Probably won't be able to say that long.
Yeah, you won't.
They're
No.
not fulfilling their debt obligations at this point.
Side note here. Okay, we're talking about experiences over in Ireland, etc. I ran across in Dublin those old newsstands where it's all tactile media.
Oh, yeah?
Where it's several different newspapers. You know, it's the booth, and
Yeah.
then it's several different newspapers
Like what you
laid
have in
across
New
the
York?
front.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And then behind them, the newsstand with all sorts of different, magazines and other sort of, rags and stuff. It was fantastic to see that. I stopped, and the thing that I appreciated the most was that the papers that were laid out, there were some serious news outlets, but I would say the majority of what was in front were a lot of people and a lot of tabloids. And I enjoyed the very emotional headlines about what's happening in soccer and rugby. They do not hold back there versus what we do there. But it was interesting to see a actual newsstand. And almost everywhere I went, other newspapers, unlike what we have here. And I'm sitting there going, maybe the Denver Post should move over here and make some money. Because
Speaking of gambling, what's the over-under on Bill moving to Ireland to embrace his roots and retire there? A happy, jolly old Irish.
Here's the thing that I can't say that I haven't thought about it, but
dude, I can see it, man.
Yeah.
There's this longing.
Oh, it is. And here's the issue for me.
That trip
is, what do I do over there? I mean,
radio. They love you. It's like the way we love somebody with an accent here.
No, I have the wrong accent, and they don't want to hear me do the talky stuff.
Are you kidding me?
There's no way. Everybody there has all the
Irish
Irish
into the conservative side over in Ireland.
Yeah, it would be. But everybody has the right accent and everything else, and I'm just like, oh, this is ridiculous. However, shout out to the one woman that was doing a Today Show program that I was watching in the Irish TV shows there that looked like she had just woken up in her cheetah pajamas and showed up on air. That was an interesting look, and probably, let's just say that it might not have been the appropriate look for her age.
Not
Just
quite the Savannah
saying.
Guthrie.
No, not. And the whole thing is, it was full cheetah jammies. I'm like, who? There had to have been someone behind the scenes that was like, you look great, babe. Go on out there. I'm like, wow. Just the entire. I couldn't get over that. Sorry.
All right, let's talk mayor extending Denver's contract with flock license plate readers without the city council approval. Mayor Mikey Johnston's office is extending Denver's contract with Flock, according to the Denver Post, a company that operates AI-powered license plate readers throughout the city, for 5 months without any additional cost, circumventing the need for a vote by the city council. In May, the council unanimously voted against a contract to extend the camera system over concerns that the technology is creating a surveillance network ripe for abuse. But Johnston's office opted not to take the cameras down, then extended the contract through October without council approval. Now, another contract extension with added requirements intended to reduce the risk of data misuse will run through at least March, which is when Johnston's team will present a new contract to the city council, according to the announcement yesterday by the mayor's office. In Denver, we believe you can be a city that is just as tough on fighting crime as it is protecting someone's civil liberties. I've made clear to Flock's leadership that I expect total transparency and that anything less will result in an end to our relationship. Some council members reacted to the extension with exasperation Wednesday. I'm tired of seeing major public safety decisions made behind the council's back, said Councilwoman Alverdrez. Extending Flock again without a vote undermines Democrat oversight and public trust. Johnston's office said Flock's technology has been a game changer for combating crime. Information gathered by Flock cameras across Denver have led to 352 arrests and 250 recovered stolen vehicles, according to the city. The company agreed to add new protections to its services to ensure Denver's data isn't shared with the federal government. God forbid that we help ICE. One of the biggest concerns is the opponents of the system is that the data could be used by U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement for deportation efforts. It's always the criminals first. It's illegal for law enforcement agencies in Colorado to cooperate with ICE. I just want to say that again. It's illegal You break the law if you help ICE maintain the law. Denver's new contract will include a requirement that Flock must pay $100,000 for any instance that data collected in the city is shared with federal agencies, according to the news release. Flock will also only allow law enforcement users to look up vehicles with certain search terms for a select number of crimes, which excludes anything related to immigration or reproductive health care, like abortions. What? Agencies going after people for abortions. The abortion police. Although it is murder, but nobody is doing that. Any law enforcement agencies that want access to Denver's Flock data will also have to agree under the new deal not to share any information with the federal government regarding immigration enforcement or face possible prosecution from the Colorado Attorney General's office. I'm trying not to let the irony explode that the Attorney General's office is going to prosecute you for the crime of trying to uphold federal immigration law. Spokesperson for Flock said the company plans to continue working with Denver to prevent and solve crimes while protecting residents' privacies. We fully support Mayor Johnston's commitment to transparency and accountability and will continue partnering with the city to ensure that Denver's program reflects its values and priorities. The 111 Flock cameras operating in Denver were installed at 70 intersections in 2024 as part of an 8-month pilot program. Johnston's office proposed a 2-year extension to that program earlier this year. I've heard that they recovered his cars using these. He has had his car stolen 3 times, but ultimately asked the council to vote it down after intense backlash from residents and concerns from council members. After the council rejected the proposal, Johnston's office approved a new contract with Flock over the summer for just under $500,000, which is the threshold required for council approval. The extension ends this month. The new extension will have no cost. Councilwoman Sarah Parody, one of the council's most vocal opponents of Flock, said Wednesday that she was stunned to learn of the latest contract extension. This company is dishonest, motivated primarily by the profit potential that comes with aggregation of data and has no place in our city. Flock's mass surveillance system remains incredibly dangerous. Sorry, I thought she might say illegal immigrants remain incredibly dangerous. No. The camera that could be used to find them is incredibly dangerous for Denver, regardless of this belated step. Now, if you're concerned about the aggregation of data, boy, oh boy, can I tell you what Facebook does. What your credit cards do with all the data they get. But if it's trying to stop criminals, then we're concerned about the aggregation of data, and it has no place in our city. So what do you think? Are you a civil libertarian that is concerned with regards to the surveillance state and what is happening? Or are you concerned about the crime problems and see Flock as an important tool to capture criminals? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's go to the attorney, Francis Golden. Good morning, Francis. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning. Oh, it should be there. Francis, are you there?
We lost him. We might be on mute.
Crud. I don't think so, but I'm going to go check to him.
Flock has jumped in and shut down the conversation. Free speech problems. Did we get him back? We got him back. I can see Bill working. All right. Francis, are you there?
Hey, you guys.
All right.
Yes, I'm here. I self-flocked myself on that. That was entirely user error. But hey, I got news for you, all you civil libertarians out there. You don't have any privacy rights to things that you do in public. Sorry. So there's really not a whole heck of a lot of difference between putting a flock camera up and just putting an investigator with a camera on every corner. It doesn't matter. You have no right to privacy for what you're hauling around in your stolen car. So, let's just put a big kiss on that one. Who's this council member who's so scared about data aggregation? What's her name again? I'm just curious because I assume this person is
Sarah
cowering under her
Parody.
bed.
Councilwoman Sarah Parody has never purchased anything online, apparently.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure she's never ordered Amazon for anything or DoorDash or anything. She is probably. I mean, people who have this level of paranoia it's just false paranoia. There's no real anything behind it. It's a political position they're taking. I assume otherwise Sarah Parody would be, never leaving her house for fear of rustling in her bushes or something, and data aggregation that would be getting, accumulated on Sarah's personal information.
Francis, I want to ask you this, though. I think this is important for people to understand, because you're an attorney, if I remember correctly. We met at one of these IHOP things. There are constitutional protections against unreasonable search and seizure, but there is no... For many conservatives, they do not believe that there's a constitutional right to privacy. That was Griswold v. Connecticut, if I remember, and then became the impetus for Roe v. Wade, that you then had this right to privacy that the government couldn't step into. But I think conservatives have long held that there is not an actual right to privacy explicitly laid out in the Constitution. What's your thoughts?
That is correct. What you have stated is an accurate recitation of the constitutional rights. And the only reason I look, when I was in law school, I had to take so many audited classes on the Constitution because I was a visiting student up in Boulder, and I got the bitter dregs of what was left that all the other normal students didn't want to take. And so I actually learned more about the Constitution than I care to know. And it was interesting in hindsight, but you're right. I think the right to privacy type stuff has been kind of inferred, generated, whatever word I want to throw in there, over time, and there really isn't such a specific delineated right. And certainly, you have no right to privacy for what you're just doing in public. Nobody is. People who are against these flock cameras, I get the concerns over some sort of, I guess I made a little bit of fun of Ms. Parody there, but, I get the concerns over data aggregation, but you hit the nail on the head. Have you figured out what Facebook's doing yet? Have you figured out what your smartphone does on its own? The last thing you need to worry about is a camera that is picking up license plates from stolen cars, or happens to be picking up breaking and entering things. I mean, that's just not, it doesn't matter. Those things are things that are happening in public and you have no privacy right to. Data aggregation is one thing, privacy is another. And I always hear these arguments against these sort of things as being a privacy violation, even from attorneys. And I'm like, what Hollywood upstairs law school did you go to? You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Now, Francis,
that's my general take on it.
I got a question for you, and I want to expand the conversation a little bit. And while I understand where the council member is going, I disagree with her, but I can see the kernel of concern. And what I mean by that is Flock being a private company that does the data aggregation, and then the government or law enforcement being the person that accesses the account. They have to pay. It's not that the government, the police department, or law enforcement are hanging on to all this data. It is Flock. And if it is a for-profit company, aren't they then incentivized to use that data in other ways in order to make money. And that would say things like number of people who drive this road that own these kind of cars, number of people that do X. And where I'm going with this is the idea of CDOT and how they collect information on tolls. That's all done through governmental systems, not private systems. But I could see someone that has a private system that is collecting those tolls operating in an area in which they start advertising to these individuals about updates on the roads, giving you an extra pass, offering you a discount at certain times, doing other things in order to incentivize X, Y, or Z. Is there any concern at all that Flock has to be a private company?
I like what Bill has tapped into, is that I am a little bit concerned about that, because I think that Flock then would have incentive to sell their data to any other private enterprise, or for that matter, governmental enterprise, to further their own concerns or even profit motive. And I think about, I am friends with or associated with people who used to own the Buffalo Wild Wing chains all over the state. It was like a franchise that you bought. And before they would figure out where they're going to open up a Wild Wings, they would pay private entities to monitor specifically traffic numbers, the general demographics of the neighborhoods around these potential openings, like income and things like that. So you would be able to pay people to actually aggregate data for you. If Flock's doing it on the government nickel and is willing to sell it privately, I have a big concern. You know, I guess
don't.
also what
I mean,
I do. They can pay for it themselves. They can go get their own Flock and figure out these.
But all they're paying for is access to a private company that's built its own cameras, that's put them out in public. These are not private cameras in the sense of like in people's bedrooms. They're put out there in public. And if Ford, for instance, wants to do analysis on where they're most likely able to sell Fords, why not access that data? Like you said, it's publicly available. They're driving around. They could put somebody out there with a little thing that counts the number of Fords that drive by, but why not pay Flock?
Well, my problem is that Flock's getting paid in part by the government to collect the data to then potentially sell it privately. That's my concern, is that you can't be sitting at the government trough and then turning around and regurgitating it for money to the private entities. That bothers me a bit.
Yeah, and I would go another step.
Pure Americana right there. That's Elon Musk and SpaceX.
Well, here I would go another step and say, based on Flock's contract with the government, they're allowed access and camera locations that typical private entities are not, and that's where I think it crosses the line. It's not like Flock going out and setting up their own cameras on the corner and their own displays or anything else. They're getting access to government infrastructure.
Through a pole?
And I can't go out and just set up cameras on poles around Denver because I want to watch people. That's not going to be allowed. And that's where I have the issue, is that they're getting access to government infrastructure in order to set up these cameras and systems and then use it possibly for private gain. That I have a problem with.
Why?
Then I've got crossing over it.
Why? What's so wrong with it?
Just what I outlined. They're getting access to government infrastructure in order to do it.
No, we want people to make money in this country. What's wrong with that? Go ahead, Francis.
I don't want government money to go towards what is on the backside of it, a private enterprise. No, private enterprise can fund itself, and not at our tax dollar. You know, it doesn't. I just realized I pulled up behind a guy with expired tags. I think I'm going to flock him right now.
Yes, good job.
Expired temporary tags. Literally, I'm looking at the kind of the irony of all this is that I myself, in my own little, we all drive around. We see this all the time. I mean, we all aggregate data as individuals, whether we do it intentionally or not. I mean, what do you think happens when you're bombed with a subpoena to go produce something? I mean, they're asking you for whatever data you've aggregated. I mean, it's in your possession. Give me the data. I don't know. I get a little bit fed up with people with this kind of like, they need fainting couches. This, this parody. I'm afraid.
At the end of the day, this
the vapors the vapor.
This is about protecting illegal immigrants. Okay, I ran a digital ad agency early on in the whole digital marketing space. I ran my first Facebook ads in 2007. Okay, and it was you could only target college students with event targeting. But I watched Facebook develop partnerships with Axiom and Epsilon, which was all of your credit card purchasing history. So at one point, they don't allow this anymore. I could target a 35-year-old mom that drove a Toyota Corolla and bought Cheerios for her kids. I could, because the power was we're no longer doing ad waste. I'm not having to buy broadcast television or newspapers anymore. I could target exactly who, the one person that is likely to purchase my product. I could target them, and that was 10 years ago. So, they know everything about you. They have all the data, and it's used by advertising companies. This is simply an effort to throw more wrenches in the ability to mass deport people. Francis, we're up against a break. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. What the flock is going on in Denver? Well, the flock cameras are going to be around, and Mayor Mikey Johnston going around the city council saying, no, we're going to continue these. I had heard, I can't confirm this, but I had heard that flock was helpful in getting the cars that were stolen out of his house. And that makes sense, right? It's amazing technology. It all does is just identify where license plates go. So in murders, for instance, they can track where somebody goes, or kidnapping or stuff like that. I don't think that falls under unreasonable search and seizure from my perspective, that the license plate affixed to the front of your car is somehow privacy that deserves to be protected. So,
yeah. Now, we do have a texter that's been sending in a series of examples of law enforcement officers using flock cameras to track things like ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, things like that. And I think that is the largest potential abuse.
Sure. And I would agree with you that is abuse. Yeah. And it should be prosecuted.
And the thing is, I don't think it's necessarily siloed all the time for flock cameras. Years ago, and I'm talking 10 plus years, a friend of mine in law enforcement shared, and it wasn't here locally, that someone in his department got nailed because he was using department resources to track his ex and to bother the new boyfriend. But that was previous to Flock. He was using other stuff.
Right.
And so you're like, oh, come on. So it's not like this is a new game. It's just that this game may have been made easier. So that is a concern.
Right. Should be prosecuted. I have no problems with that. I just don't think, one, that there's an explicit right to privacy that's listed in the Constitution, and two, some technology that can track the license plate affixed to the front of your car while driving around in public would somehow violate the Fourth Amendment protections to unreasonable search and seizures.
And the thing for me is the fact that the important word there, in public. Right. That's what Francis was outlining. In public. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're concerned about, all those Ring cameras.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would be violations.
Yep, they would be. They would be. It's like Ron White's classic joke where he gets thrown out of the bar and then gets arrested for being drunk in public. He's like, I didn't want to be drunk in public. They threw me out into public. I was drunk in a bar and I was happy. Blame them.
Let's go to Marcus in Aurora. Good morning, Marcus. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. One thing about the Flock in Denver. Who really cares about Denver? I'm going to be honest with you. Most people don't even go down there. A lot of us were from Arapahoe, Adams, Douglas, Jefferson County. Why do you want to go downtown with the crime and all the crap, the booting, the towing? There's nothing down there, not even the IHOP. So explain that
one. Is there no IHOPs in Denver?
Wouldn't be surprised there isn't, but I have no idea.
I know there's this one down here in Aurora, right down the street from us. So.
Yeah.
Goodness. But I mean, it seems like, from my perspective, I'll give Mike Johnston credit that he didn't let the anti-immigrant or the anti-ICE enforcement crazies on the Denver City Council get control of this issue. Because that's really what it's all about. I think he saw through it. He goes, they're going to make Denver more dangerous in order to protect illegal immigrants, and I'm not going to have it. So kudos to him.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. What do you think, Billy?
Sorry, I get something in my throat. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, they got some IHOPs. They got the IHOP off of Colorado Springs, Colorado Boulevard there. But yeah, it's kind of it's funny.
Downtown.
The IHOPs are all around the city of Denver, actually.
Yeah. And, here's the thing, Marcus. I mean, you got to understand, and you've met me, man. My level for public embarrassment is incredibly high. So the idea that there are cameras out there recording or watching or anything that I do, I don't really care, especially when it is in public. And there are so many other situations in which we are under surveillance, even private individual in private institutions. Things like the idea of walking into a Walmart or a Safeway or anything else. Look at the eye in the sky. You can see all over the ceiling that they are watching you. So we have already acquiesced the idea of this right to privacy in public. And then we carry around, and I'm banging on the desk here, this thing, the cell phone. We've got it in our hand all the time, and they can geolocate and track you all the time. The other thing with me about the Flock cameras is, I remember there are these really, really cool TV shows. One of the ones I was a huge fan of is a thing with Kiefer Sutherland. You know, the thing 24? Well, they'd sit there and go, hey, this person's doing X, and they go, wait, what is it? Oh, let me zoom in here. And they go and access the cameras. They track the terrorists. We've been sold this kind of a surveillance state in the sci-fi and tech entertainment world for years. Yes, there are some negatives, Minority Report and some other things. Yes, Terminator, yes. Okay, absolutely. But until Flock is looking at inventing Skynet, I think we're going to be okay. My problem I personally have, though, is the idea that Flock being a private company. And let's say that Denver cuts their agreement with Flock in Denver. What does Flock do with all the data they've collected about Denver?
Who cares?
Can they go around and sell it?
What are they going to do? Who cares? Make some money off of it. No, be a capitalist. It's not a problem. I don't care. Ford wants to buy it.
We don't live in Denver,
Marcus.
We don't live in Denver. Denver's always been one of those strange things.
Denver's always been one of those strange things. Perfect line, Marcus. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marcus's line is open, 303-696-1971. Part two of all this, Bill, Elon Musk yesterday talking about how quickly robotic cars are going to be here.
Yeah, and his robot army. That was a fun phrase.
He wants a lot of money, too. $1 trillion package.
That's great.
Deserves every penny of it, in my opinion. But
how about he hits some of his other quality deliverables first, then we can talk about when I hear
oh, my gosh. You and I could debate this.
Yeah, we could.
But, look, you're in 20 years from now, none of us are going to be driving anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. I think my kids are the last generation to actually learn to drive.
Yeah.
So it's all going to go robotic, and it'll be motivated primarily by safety, right? It's the top killer of people right now are auto accidents. So, and then those cars, they're just going to be able to program and follow wherever they go. So, yeah, it's all going to change.
Yeah, it will.
And there's no explicit constitutional right to privacy. Sorry. Doesn't exist.
Just especially when you're walking around in public. That's the issue for
me.
Yeah.
All right.
We can talk about the government not putting cameras in our house. But,
you're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are 710 KNUS.